Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith. Welcome to the Grow Tent, everybody. You have found the best growing channel on YouTube, man. The place where we simplify the approach for you so everyone can learn how to grow. We make it so simple, even I can understand. So I'm going to listen and learn right now.
Woo! What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Grow Tent. We've got a special episode today. Today we're going to talk about, I'm going to say it's a dangerous episode. So I would firstly like to apologize for the growing community for the damage this video might cause people that are trying to copy this or follow it. It's probably the most dangerous way you could flower ever. So today we're going to be talking about flowering using only PK boosters. We're not going to be giving any normal nutrient cycles of, grow, micro, bloom, your nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. We are only going to be using PK boosters. The plants that I have fed, they are through week 7, day 2 currently today. And the picture I'm going to show you of them today, this is part 1 of 2 parts. The picture I'm going to show you today is they were week 4. I think it was week 4. It was like day 4 or day 5 of flower. So that's what we're going to be going over today, is what my schedule was feeding them the first week 1, exactly what I did through week 4, like halfway through week 4 is what we're going to go over today. Because I had a lot of reservations about putting this episode out because, as you guys know, PK boosters are extremely dangerous. Even if you follow this along with my exact schedule, you could still hurt your plants, because if your plants were smaller than mine or they don't eat as much food as mine, following this exact same schedule could still burn your plants up. But I'm going to tell you exactly what I did to get my plants to look like this, because they're monsters. I mean, the rate at which they're growing, usually we say PK boosters are good for about a 5% increase. When you use them normally, you get about a 5%, maybe you could stretch that out to like an 8% in yield boost in an indoor garden. Now, if you're growing in a facility, that's a ton. You got an 8% across the board bonus in yield, it's a ton. But if you're growing in a 2x4, 8% for the amount of risk that PK boosters carry, insane. That's an insane risk for such a low turnover. But I'm going to tell you, we are probably seeing, whenever these plants at this point have got nothing but CalMag. CalMag is a supplement, so it is not a nutrient. So they've gotten nothing but CalMag, because I water with RO water, so I have to put CalMag in there as a supplement to replace the calcium and magnesium that would have already been in the tap water. So I have to put that back in there. These plants, when I tell you, they've gotten nothing but a PK booster, which was Cool Bloom, and which is a 0, 10, 10. That is, it's the little 3 numbers that are across the bottom. That means the 0 would be nitrogen. The 10 and the 10 is phosphorus and potassium. And then the only place they're actually getting nitrogen from is from the soil. We're growing in, they are in 7-gallon pots, and they had a brand new Fox Farms Ocean Forest, which had about 2,800 ppms in it whenever it was brand new, when we put it in there. So we're going to go over all these factors today of exactly what I did, because people can tell you exactly what they did, but they don't give you all the variables. It's all nonsense. Like if I was like, yeah, this is what I fed them, but I didn't tell you what the starting ppm of the ocean forest was, it's nonsense. If I didn't tell you what kind of water I was using, it's nonsense. Like if I just told you, hey, yeah, I watered with the PK booster. Yeah, but what kind of water was it? We're going to go over all that today. I already told you it's RO water. It's the only thing I ever water with. But unless you have all the variables, especially since we're going to be dealing with something as volatile as PK booster, you have to have all the variables, and you have to be, you can try and replicate this as close as possible. But I'm going to tell you right now, we're like at 27-30% more yield than what would the average would have been. I understand people are going to hear this and they're going to be like, oh my God, GT has found a real unicorn piss. And as crazy as it sounds, I have another garden going at the exact same time right now. It's 4 weeks behind, and I just want to see if I can duplicate the results, and they are identical. So, is this video going to cause a sudden rush and surge in PK booster sales? I don't know if it will too much, because I'm going to show plants in this video. So since I'm going to show plants in this video, it's going to get age restricted, which means it might actually minimize the amount of people that actually see the video. So it's kind of like a saving grace, since YouTube will age restrict it, so a bunch of people won't see it. So we'll probably maybe only get like 2,000 or 25 or 3,500 views, because we're one of the channels that they don't let show plants. Instead of getting like, you know, like some of the other videos lately have gotten 25, 30,000 views. And if it did that, I think it might cause a bigger problem. But since we're going to show plants, it's one of the reasons I'm showing plants and not just telling you about it. I want you to see what I'm talking about, how crazy the growth is. And wait, just wait. You think these pictures are crazy? If you think these pictures are crazy, wait till you see part 2. Because I took those pictures, I think it was week 7, like day 1. I just took them like 2 or 3 days ago. They're insane. Like, everything's getting so heavy it's starting to fall over. The colas are so big. So we have to actually address that today. I've got my whole box of yo-yos out. I'm going to have to go down there and actually turn off the light rail light mover, because there's going to be so many strings holding colas up. We're not going to be able to run the light mover anymore. They're just going to have to stay in the middle. So yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about today. Guys, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. It might not take you very long, but it means a ton to the channel, and it's always appreciated. If you have any comments about the video today, or any questions, which I'm sure there might be, because this is going to be a dangerous video for you to try on your own, please leave them in the comments below, and I will try to get to every single one of them. Also, Black Friday is coming up over on our website at WTTGT. It's a really good time to join right now. I think I have 3 of the best new t-shirt designs. This is one from one of our last drops coming up, and we have a huge drop coming up on Black Friday, so you definitely want to check that out. Yeah, really good time to join. All right, so I think the best way to do this is just lay out exactly what I did. So first of all, let me scoot over here so we know what we're talking about. This picture right here, I'm going to put up now. This picture right here is week 4. I think it was either day 4 or day 5. This is right after the stretch. This is what the garden looks like already. These plants have gotten nothing but PK Booster and CalMag at this point, because I don't feed in veg. I just transplant. I went from cubes to I skipped solo cups. I went from cubes to 1 gallons to 3 gallons to 5 gallons, all while still in veg, and then went to 7 gallons whenever I was going into flower, because I wanted the plants to get some size on them so that I could do this. The bigger the plant, the more it would be able to handle the workload of trying to process only PK Booster. Because PK Booster, when you think about it, I mean, it's literally just your micro and your bloom put together. It's just your phosphorus and potassium. It's a super concentrated form of it. So I wanted the plants to be slightly bigger, so we vegged them a little bit longer. This is 4 plants filling up a 6x4. You can see that it is corner to corner, front to back. Every square inch of this tent is colas. And this is only week 4. This is we're getting like midway to the later part of midway through week 4, and we already have colas everywhere. This is about a week and a half, maybe not a week and a half, but probably a solid week further ahead than they normally are under our normal feeding schedule with just running baseline nutrients and CalMag. They are about a week bigger than they should be at this point. So I would put that right along the we're seeing like a 30% increase in yield just feeding PK Booster. And normally, whenever we're feeding, since the soil already has food in it, Generally, we're not feeding till around the end of week 3, beginning of week 4, because there's already plenty of food in there. Putting the PK booster in there, all right, so let's just go over the schedule. I started feeding them PK booster the first watering after I'd put them into their brand new 7-gallon pots, because this was kind of a thing like, well, if we're going to do this, let's actually do it and see what we can really get away with, or what is going to destroy them too quickly. And I will tell you, there was a few times, because I fed them PK booster every single week. Every week, starting at week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, they have been watered 4 times, and they have gotten PK booster every single one of those waterings. Every single one. And this has been the result so far. I guess I can scoot back over here. Probably got that picture pulled down by now. During week 1, there was going to be a ton of food in there from the ocean forest. During week 1, I gave them 1 milliliter per gallon of Cool Bloom PK booster. That is a 0-10-10. So I made up, I think it was 7 gallons of water, and I put 7 gallons, Jesus Christ. I put 7 milliliters of PK booster in there, and then I put 5 milliliters per gallon of CalMag in there. So there was 20, during week 1, my formula was 7 milliliters PK booster, 35 milliliters of CalMag. That's what went in here week 1. And then we also put in 2.5 tablespoons of mycorrhiza. We cut our mycorrhiza down in half. By lessening the amount of mycorrhiza in there, it lessens the uptake of how quickly they can pull in the nutrients. The more mycorrhiza that you have living in your rhizosphere, the faster they can break down soils, the faster they can break down foods to get them to the plant. So I cut the mycorrhiza in half of what I would normally give them, so that I could tamper down how fast that they could get nutrients into the plant. So I was giving myself a little bit of a buffer there. Week 2, it was the same 30, this is 7 gallons of water every single time is what I'm making up for this formula. So that's how we're basing our milliliters off. Week 2, we were at 1.5 milliliters per gallon. So it was like, what was that, 10.5? We were at 1.5 milliliters per gallon, right? Yeah, I'll just keep this over here. We're at 1.5 milliliters per gallon, and we were still at 5 milliliters per gallon of the CalMag. So same 35 milliliters of CalMag went into the bucket. We did not put any mycorrhiza in here for week 2 flower, so this was just 1.5 milliliters of Cool Bloom and 5 milliliters per gallon of CalMag. All right, and at this point, leaves were still all green. There was no crisping to the tip or to the edges. Everything still looked great, because we're at 1 milliliters per gallon. Even though we're feeding it really early on, it's still very, very light dose. Most PK boosters will tell you the correct dose is about 1 to 2.5 milliliters per gallon, and usually the optimum times to put boosters in around week 3, week 4 of flower. And then you can kind of cut them off by like the beginning of week 6. In this one, though, we're feeding it every single week and replacing our regular nutrients. And it had some results that I still find it hard to believe doing it this way. And I still just do want to throw a warning out. Just be careful with this, because it's extremely easy to burn up your plants. And we're going to actually talk about that when we start getting into like the beginning of week 4, where we started like, okay, we're kind of right in the edge here, and it's like this is exactly what you'd see right before you would burn up the whole garden. But we kept pushing through, and luckily the plant was big enough, since we vegged a little bit longer, and we always have very healthy grows, that the plant was able to hold off in it. And we also cut off the mycorrhiza for another 2 weeks. So week 3, this is where we start bumping it up a little bit. Week 3, I was at 2 milliliters per gallon of Cool Bloom, and I was at 6 milliliters per gallon of the CalMag. So now we're at 14, and we had 7 gallons of water. We had 14 milliliters in there of Cool Bloom PK booster, and then we had now whatever 6 milliliters times 7 is. What is that? I don't know. It's like 40 or 36 milliliters total in there. I don't know. I use a syringe. You know, I do it one at a time. And then towards the end of this week, we started noticing that the tips of the leaves were starting to get crispy. If you guys don't know, when the tips of your leaves start to turn yellow or get past the yellow and go brown, that is actually building up of nutrients that the plant is having trouble processing, and it shows you that by burning the tips of the leaves, because it's the buildup of what it's trying to do. It can't store anymore, so it's actually starting to fry because it keeps trying to pump the excess into your leaves. And what happens is it builds up at the tips first, it yellows them, then they die. And if you keep overfeeding them, it will actually run up the entire edges of all your, like your 5-finger leaf. It'll actually start burning up all the jigsaw edges. And that's whenever you see this, like, I mean, it looks kind of cool. You get the burn up outside, then they get slightly yellow inside, and then a slightly yellow, slightly lighter green inside of that. And, I mean, I think the leaves actually look pretty cool whenever they do that, but it's a bad sign. So at the like week 3, day 3, or day 4, we started noticing the tips of the leaves were starting to be burnt. And I was like, okay, so for the next week, this is getting to be the point where when we're feeding this much PK booster, that we're kind of riding the edge of right where we would want to be, and it would normally be the time to start backing it down just a touch so we didn't run up the leaves. But that really wasn't the point of this video series, so we pushed ahead. During week 4 flower, we went 2.5 milliliters per gallon, and then we went 8 milliliters per gallon of the CalMag, and we had 0 mycorrhiza. Even though this would have been normally a week where we would have put mycorrhiza in it, I skipped it for the exact same reason that I mentioned earlier. So we skipped mycorrhiza this week completely, and we went up to 8 milliliters per gallon of the CalMag, and we went, because this is the last week for the CalMag before we switch over to the Mag Sulfur, so I wanted to kind of get a dump of the calcium in there, and then plus there was nitrogen that is in the CalMag, which is where we were getting our nitrogen from this grow, so I was trying to help the plant out there, so I gave it an extra bump of the CalMag. So we went from 6 milliliters per gallon up to 8 milliliters per gallon. Guys, when I tell you that, and then this next week is where, you know, the stretch was over. It was very difficult to control the stretch just because how fast the plants were growing. It was very actually difficult to keep everything under control, but we started seeing the stacking going, like it was going bananas. The more I kept it in control, I think from bud site or bud node to bud node, there was less than a half an inch in between all of them, and they were just, all the branches were just stacked. So I knew we were onto something. When we went over here, so the next week, which is the week where the picture was taken that you guys saw earlier, might as well, it was probably interesting anyway, put it up again. If you can like look at some of the leaves, you can see we are starting to get some of the leaves where not just the tips are burnt anymore, but it's actually starting to run down the edges. And not only is it running down the edges, but on like the front, like half, like this part, the whole front half of the leaves, some of them, that edge running has come across and it's fading the whole, like this part forward, it's fading them all from green to yellow. So this is as close to the ragged edge as you can come with PK Booster. The next step of this transgression, whenever it starts running across the whole face of the leaf like that, literally the very next thing it does is goes and takes off the whole leaf, and it turns it yellow and then brown in about a 24-hour period. So we knew right where we were at here, to say we were riding the edge on this grow is like an understatement. This would have been the aspect where I was like, okay, if we give this plant anything else, this plant is, we're going to walk in here the next day and everything is going to be brown, because that's the exact spot we were. So for this very next watering, I literally, once again, I skipped the mycorrhiza for week 4. So they literally haven't had any since like week 2 of flower, which means we've skipped would have been 2 doses of it we've skipped them giving it any mycorrhiza, and the results are still what you just saw in that freaking picture. So the really cool part about this is the amount of nutrients we've spent money on is next to nothing. Next to nothing, because since the PK booster is so concentrated, you don't have to use that many milliliters of it. So I don't know if y'all understand how big of a problem I'm having with this, because this these results are fucking crazy. And the bad part is I'm repeating them again and having the exact same results in another tint. So instead of our 5 to 8%, using it as an actual nutrient instead, I'm going to be very interested to see what our end results are on in yield weight, because I know like about how much weight I will pull out of a 6x4 whenever I have, you know, X number of square feet, how much I usually get. So I'm going to be, and we're going to do a weigh-in at the end of part 2. So when they finish up here in another week or so, we're going to do, maybe 2 weeks, we're going to do a weigh-in result of what I would normally get versus what these colas actually are after they dry, because wet weights don't count. You guys cheat sometimes whenever you're putting your weights up. Wet weights don't count, or semi-dried weights, those also don't count. We actually take real weights. I'm going to bet, just based on how big everything is, by eliminating the regular nutrients and only feeding the PK booster, which is, once again, saves us a bunch of money on nutrients, I'm going to bet we're probably going to increase our yield 25 to 30% whenever it's all said and done. Because, I mean, you've seen this picture. This is week 4. Whenever you look at the week 7 pictures, the insanity that is happening in this garden, I mean, it's crazy. Guys, once again, I hope you guys are careful if you try this method, because it is super sketchy. I mean, we got to the point where if we probably would have fed them, or if we would have gave them more mycorrhiza, just even more extra mycorrhiza, we would have lost the whole garden. And you can actually start to see it in some of these pictures, or in some of these leaves that are in that picture, of how close we were riding to the edge of the next day everything being dead. I hope you guys tune in for part 2, because the insanity of it is off the chain. All right. I hope you guys all have a fantastic week. Please join in for part 2 and watch it before you start to try this method. Okay. But I have a feeling that we might have stumbled onto something here for pretty insane results. And while they are dangerous, the results are, you know, we always talk about the juice is worth the squeeze kind of deal. This might fall into that category, and I apologize to the growing community for what this information might do to you. All right, I hope everybody has a good day. Remember to check out the memberships over at WTTGT. I can't tell you enough how good of a time it is to join this month. All right, I'll see you guys later. I'm GT. I'm out of here. Careful with this info.